Hello, and welcome to the Youngfolk Knits podcast. This is episode 16. Hello and welcome back if you're a returning viewer. If you're new, my name is Casey and I'm the maker here at Youngfolk Knits. This is a podcast mainly about knitting, a bit of sewing, really all kinds of crafts. Never know. We live on a small farm here in Arkansas with my family, and so sometimes I like to include our adventures with beekeeping, our chickens, our animals, our gardens. All of that really takes up a lot of our time and it's a big part of our life, so I enjoy sharing that on here as well sometimes. I have so much to show y'all and talk about today that I am just gonna jump right into it. So let's start off with my finished object. That I had started my leaf top and it is done. Woohoo! I am so excited it's finished. I really feel like it is such a beautiful pattern. Let me show you guys a little bit closer some of the details. You can see it is all over lace. This really simple repeating lace, but the fact that it is just continuous all around the front and sides and back, I just think it adds a little something special. And I opted for wooden buttons. So I will, oh, my button came undone. Okay, so I will tell you guys all about it. So I made mine out of the We Are Knitters cotton. I'll show you how much I have left. I made the size large, which was the biggest size available, unfortunately. It comes in a size small medium, which is one size, and then a size large. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like it should instead be size small and size medium large, because the large is, it's more like a medium to me. Anyway, I ordered 3 balls, and I still have 1 whole unused ball of the We Are Knitters cotton. And then I have, I don't know, a third or fourth of the second ball left that I used to seam my pieces together. So some of that was used for that. And then when it was time to sew on my buttons, what I did was simply split the yarn into multiple threads. It was almost like embroidery floss. You know how with embroidery floss you can simply split it into, like, it's 6 threads. I guess you can pull it apart into however many you want, and it was really easy to do this to do that with this yarn too. So I just cut off the length that I wanted, and I used like 2 I would use like 2 threads of it to sew my buttons on. You can see. Anyway, I had quite a bit left, so you will definitely only need 2 balls if you're making the large. Plus, a modification that I made was to make mine a bit longer. So what you do in the pattern is you repeat this lace motif. Let's see. One of these diamonds, like half of one of these diamonds to the next half is kind of like one repeat. And it has you do that 3 times for the top before you start the triangle of this section here. So I actually did it 4 times instead of 3 times before I started shaping the neckline. I have a really large bust in comparison to like my shoulders, for instance. So I feel like my tops, they have to go out and then down, and so I lose a lot of length that way. So I always, and I'm tall, I'm 5'8". I always know I want my tops to be longer. So I definitely knew I was doing that. I also talked about the fact that I would have really liked to, and was planning on, in fact, adding a garter panel to both sides to accommodate my measurements, which are bigger than what is really called for in the pattern. So once I had completely knitted the front section, so you knit the front side, the other front side, and then you knit the back, and you knit those pieces flat, and then you seam them together. I was laying them all out, and I felt like the garter section would have really, whoops, I have an end that needs to be re-woven in. This is a bad thing about cotton, or really any yarn fiber that is not wool. I feel like it has a really hard time staying in place or staying hidden. Anyway, what was I talking about? I felt like once I got these pieces knit up, that what made this top so beautiful really was the continuous lace that went all the way around, and I didn't want to interrupt that with the garter panels. So I decided not to do it, and I'll just be honest, it's tight. My buttons, like right here, they're kind of like, I don't know. It is tight. My measurements do change a lot, but I do still love it. I think it's just absolutely beautiful. I think it would be really fun to wear this over like a 90s style dress. You know, the ones that were like really flowy, kind of long, had the tie that went, that, you know, the strings started here and they would tie in the back, maybe button up, and I could just see it with like a short sleeve red floral dress. This over it would be super cute. Super 90s vibes, which I love. But that's kind of what I'm thinking. I also think this would be really pretty with a camisole underneath it, or on the beach, like with shorts and your bathing suit underneath it. I don't like my bra to show, so this isn't really something, it's very see-through. There's a lot of holes in it, big holes. So I would definitely be wearing this over something, but I just think it's beautiful. And my only complaint is that I wish that the designer would add more sizes to this pattern. So hopefully she will, and then I will reknit it. As I, since I made it longer, I added another repeat. I did have to add 2 more buttonholes to the pattern, and also buy 2 more buttons to go with it. And so instead of 6, I have 8, but I think it looks really good. And the pattern calls for like a garter stitch strap, but instead I did an I-cord strap, and I think it's just really clean, and I really like the look that it gives. So that is my leaf top, and I have more pictures on Ravelry and a video, so you're welcome to check that out. On Instagram, you can find me at youngfolk.knits, and on Ravelry, my username is Casey Apple. I have a scratchy throat. So that is my only knitted finished object. So let's move into my whips. First whip y'all are well familiar with. This is my Wildness sweater, which I'm test knitting for Lerka from Fiber Tales. It is knit with ampersand fibers, Caslin fingering, in the color Oat 01, which I really love. I think it's a great neutral color, but not white, not really even cream. It's just this really pretty oatmeal color, but a light oatmeal color. So this is a non-superwash yarn. It has a really woolly feeling to it, but it's not itchy to me. So I really enjoy this. This is the second sweater I have made out of that yarn, and I'm really enjoying it. So this is a circular yoke. It has some great details, like a folded neckline, really pretty welt. There's cabling, and there's also some beautiful herringbone stitch details. I mean, it was a very involved yoke, and definitely required a lot of attention and focus, I feel like, from me, but it was worth it. And once you get through the yoke, the body and the sleeves are just completely stockinette, so that makes up for it. My test knit, the deadline was for the end of April, and I needed to finish the yoke and one sleeve. So as you can see, I have finished a sleeve. I'll actually would definitely be able to finish the sleeve tonight, and April's not over yet, so that's I'm actually on time for something. And then I'm halfway through the body of this. So I absolutely love it. The sleeves on this are, I feel like they're not puff sleeves by any means. They're not, a balloon sleeve or a bishop sleeve or anything like that. So I was thinking earlier of how to kind of explain, but there's almost like this little bit of gathering or puff at the very top of the sleeve. At the, it's a bit roomy, but then it decreases down to a fitted sleeve, you know, all the way, the rest of the way, and at the end it's just a loose sleeve for the top part. So the way I work my sleeves is I put however many decreases I need. I put a light bulb stitch marker in my first decrease, and then I count how many decreases I'm going to have total, and I will put one stitch marker for each of those on that first light bulb. And then as I go, you know, I don't even have to count. I just take one off for each decrease and put it on. Then when I'm working my second sleeve, I just move it from the first sleeve to the second one. So, you know, they're all on this sleeve now. You can kind of see how many decreases I have left. Not many. The pattern, I think, calls for you to end the sleeve after the last decrease, but I have, you know, I'm tall, I have long arms. I'm over here trying to show you my arm, and it looks like I'm doing some dance move. Anyway, I had to make mine an inch longer than it called for, and I feel like it's a perfect length. And then I did not do a tubular bind off at the sleeve because while I love the look of it, sometimes I feel like I want it to be tight and I don't want it to flare. And I feel like sometimes any stretchy bind off, I'm a loose knitter, and any stretchy bind off can flare a bit for me. So I just prefer to do a tighter bind off this time, just a regular bind off in pattern. It looks very neat. I think it looks great, and I don't think you could tell much difference between this and a tubular bind off because it's a really clean, I like it. So I want to talk a little bit about circular yokes. I absolutely love knitting a circular yoke sweater. I feel like it's the easiest for me. It's the easiest to try on. It's the easiest to feel like you've knit a lot because you don't have to go back and pick stitches up. So I'm a huge fan of knitting a circular yoke sweater. However, due to my body type, I feel like I have a lot of fit issues. And I was talking to Victoria from Victorious Wool on Instagram, and she's also Victorious Wool on YouTube actually. But we were just kind of talking about the fit of a sweater, and you know, we love to get that perfect fit. And for me, I have such a big difference between my upper bust measurement and my shoulder measurement and my full bust measurement that it's almost like I need two different size sweaters. I need one size and then I need another size. And also I absolutely love the Skeins of Dreams podcast. I know I've talked about it on here before, but Migo was talking on one of her, I can't remember which episode it was, but it was a more recent one. She was talking about the fit of her sweaters too, and how I think it was a cardigan though, but how it had kind of hit her like she needed to do two different sizes basically for a very similar reason. And for me, I don't have that much of an issue with cardigans. It is 100% circular yokes. So with drop shoulders or any type of construction that the shoulder can kind of drop down, then it's not an issue. But most circular yokes, I end up having some puckering here unless it's just really tight. And if I make it loose at all, it's not, it looks too big. And then it doesn't look too big in the chest, but it looks way too big here in the upper chest and neck. So I feel like I probably should start choosing my size based off of my upper measurement here, and then just increasing at this point, possibly quicker increases or longer increases longer to get to this. You see, I don't know if that would work either. Victoria said I probably need to do bust darts, which I have done in a sweater by Jacqueline C. Slack before, and the fit was really good, but I felt like my German short rows were really visible, and I did not like that in the location that they were at. It's a conundrum on how to, I want it to be perfect. I nitpick the way it looks, and I don't want, for instance, my short rows to be visible. That really bothers me if it's, you know, on the front of my sweater and my chest. I don't like that at all. I also really don't like the puckering. So lately I find myself more drawn to knitting a drop shoulder or a set-in shoulder. I feel like those tend to fit me the best. But I think the prettiest sweaters are usually a circular yoke. I think that once this is blocked, it is gonna fit really well, actually. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. I will hopefully wear it the next podcast, and I will show y'all exactly what I'm talking about. I think this one is gonna be okay, but I know there's some really seasoned knitters that watch this podcast, so I would love to hear some of your tips or advice or thoughts. Do you think I should choose my size based on my, you know, upper measurements and then increase more, or add bust darts, or tell me what you think? I would love to hear lots of ideas. The more, the merrier. But after having said all that, I actually really do love this sweater, and I think it has a great fit, and I think it's gonna fit much better than the sweater I just recently finished by Andrea Mowry that has the brioche, and the name is just completely gone. But you can see it in some of my previous episodes and on Instagram, but it had a lot of puckering. I think the brioche made it so much worse because my brioche is really expansive, and I think that just really didn't help with the fabric. The herringbone on this is actually, you know, a much stiffer fabric. It's not like it stretches still, but complete opposite of brioche. So I think that's gonna help this yoke a lot. I do really love the Wildness sweater, and I think it's gonna be a sweater I wear a lot. But I was just thinking about circular yokes more in general, and I'm not sure that they fit me the best. Some of my late night musings this past week. What type of sweater fits me the best? So with that, I'm gonna move into my next whip, which is a completely different construction. Which, first of all, I'll show you is being held in my Knitting Nelly bag. Morgan from Knitting Nelly makes the cutest quilted bags. This was part of the spring box that she did, and I am making a Thea top. So this is going to be a tank top, and it is knit out of Magpie Fibers Equinox worsted. So it is a silk and linen blend. Yeah, it's just silk and linen, and it is in their Bougie Beaver colorway. So I really love Bougie Beaver on every base, but this is my first time working with this yarn, and it is, you know, it's definitely a worsted. And at first I was like afraid the fabric was gonna be a bit stiff, but actually even just the more I've worked with it, it has gotten even more drapey. So I think that silk is really giving it some nice shine, and the linen will probably grow quite a bit. So I think this is gonna be really nice actually when it's done. Nice and cool, will cover my bra straps. So this is knit the back first, and you do a provisional cast on, and then you're not picking up the stitches whenever you go back. You just put the center on hold, which I'm trying to stay in the same color theme here. But you keep those stitches on hold while just picking back up and knitting the shoulder stitches, and then you knit the other side and join it in the center, which as you can see, I've done. And then you will go back and pick up the neckline all the way around and knit the ribbing on that, and armholes here, same thing there. So I think this is gonna be, I can really see this with some linen pants I have, or khaki shorts, flowy skirts, so many things. I'm just really excited to have this because sometimes I knit things because I think they're pretty and I like to look at them while I'm knitting it because I enjoy the technique that I'm maybe learning that's new. I don't always knit the most wearable pieces for me personally. I'm more of a process knitter and I love the finished object, even to just look at like a piece of art. So this doesn't fit into that category for me. This is definitely going to be a wardrobe staple. I can already tell. I love the fabric and I think it's going to be perfect for our climate here in Arkansas. I wanted to have this done for an upcoming vacation, tropical vacation, but I think I'll probably have to actually finish it en route to our vacation destination. And that's okay because it knits up really quickly, and I have been focusing on meeting my test knit deadline. Things happen. I have actually not finished a test knit before and it really bothered me, but life happens. I do think that if all possible, if you commit to a test knit, you should try really, really hard to meeting the deadline. Like I say, I have missed it before totally, but I wanted to, before focusing on this project, I wanted to finish that test knit for Fiber Tales up. And then hopefully this will really quickly, just stockinette stitch, I can really knit on this en route to our vacation, and hopefully I'll get to wear it while we're there. If not, I'll wear it all spring and summer, and I think I'm really gonna enjoy this. So I forgot to mention earlier, but both the leaf top and the Thea top I am knitting as part of the Tank You Next knit along, which is being hosted by Stacy from Stress Knits. So both of them I wanted to knit anyway because I have a list of summer knits. I have so many winter woolly knits. I really wanted to make a lot of cooler weather things because here in Arkansas, even in the winter, you can wear camisoles under a sweater and be fine. It's not that cold. So I really want to expand my cool weather wardrobe, and the fact that she was hosting it knit along I thought was perfect and really, really fun. So I am knitting both of those, and I actually have a few other things I want to knit as well, like an outline tank by Jessie Made Designs, and I'd love to make it the Lazy Daisy cardigan by Rachel, is it Kurihara? But yeah, so I have so many things that knit along is actually perfect for me to finish a few of those. So I have one other thing that is sort of a work in progress, sort of a soon to be thing. First of all, I will show you this adorable bag that my mother gave me, and it says Busy Bee, which is perfect for me. I love it. And it is holding my third test knit for this month. I couldn't help myself. Oh, I could not help myself. So Alex from Bear and Rose she's designing one beautiful thing after another. And her latest upcoming design is called the Isa cardigan. And I'll insert a picture here. But it's this really pretty sort of classic cardigan with some nice lace detailing. And if you notice, the button band has got some really fun ribbing. So I was excited to do that. Alex is, really sweet. She's got a few designs that I really want to knit. And Miga from Skeins of Dreams, she's actually testing this as well with me. And Ruth from Ruth Loves to Knit podcast. And then I just had a complete blank, but she has the Blue Rabbit House. She designs the most beautiful project bags. I'm having a brain freeze at the moment, but it's so fun, with some of these different test knits. It's really fun when you have a great group of testers to do it with, which like in the Wildness sweater is another great group. I'm getting to do that also with, maybe you've seen the Knitting Hobbit podcast. So she has already finished her Wildness sweater completely, and it was beautiful. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun test knit. And so I started swatching and had already started to unravel some of my swatches. This is one of them that I did, and it calls for a DK. It's already unraveling, but that's okay because I'm not using this is a DK weight yarn, and I'm using Madelinetosh in the color Dr. Zhivago's Sky, which I think is a gorgeous color. And the pattern calls for DK weight yarn, size 4.5 millimeter or size 7 needles. And as y'all well know, I'm a very loose knitter, but I absolutely could not get gauge. I could not get gauge. So the original sample was knit in a drops cotton yarn, and I feel like it just tends to be heavier, even though it said DK weight. I feel like I would have to definitely have a worsted weight yarn, a good worsted yarn to meet the gauge with a size 4.5 millimeter needles. And so I then swatched on wooden size 8 or size US 8, size 5 millimeter needles, and I still couldn't get gauge. So then I moved up to metal 5 millimeter needles, and I was able to get gauge. It's a bit drapey. This is one of them that I did, but it's not like see-through or anything. It's just a drapey. I've already started to pull this one out because I wanted to try to do the lace on here. So I had ripped that back out, and I'm not even gonna use these wood needles. I'm using some ChiaoGoo metal 5 millimeter US 8 needles, and then this Madelinetosh yarn in Dr. Zhivago's Sky, which I think is beautiful. So I could really see a sort of moodier version of the cardigan with some wooden buttons. I don't know, I think it would be perfect for my wardrobe. So I'm very excited to get this knitted up. So next episode, I will hopefully have some good progress I can show y'all. And Alex, you are a beautiful designer. She has another pattern coming soon that I also definitely want to knit. So I've got a lot of projects going on at the moment, but they're all good projects. I'm enjoying all of them, so that's okay with me. So that's all for my knitting that I have to show you. I do have some sewing this week though, so let me just jump right into that. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably already seen this dress, but I have had in my mind a white or more ivory colored, kind of cream colored double gauze dress, very flowy with a sort of empire waist. I wanted a V-neck, and I wanted some billowy sleeves, not too full of a sleeve. I had a very specific look in mind, and I could not find a pattern for it anywhere. There probably is one. I'm really bad at finding sewing patterns. I don't really know how to find new sewing patterns. There's certain sewing designers that I know. True Buys, Sew Liberated, Friday Pattern Company, is it? By Hand London. A lot of different ones like that. So I know to check them. If I don't find it there, I will look at patterns maybe available or suggested by certain fabric stores, and otherwise I'm no good at finding a pattern when I want one. So I'll follow different sewists, and that helps to give me a good idea. But you know, in the moment when you're searching for a pattern, I'm not good at knowing where to look otherwise. So I have a hinterland dress already. That is a pattern by So Liberated. I have it in a black linen from Merchant and Mills, and it has a button placket all the way down from the top. It's a scoop neck dress. Short sleeves is what my dress is, and I love it. It's, you know, it's great, but it's not exactly the dress that I had in mind for this. So I decided to take the hinterland dress and modify it big time to make it what I wanted. And this is my double gauze dress that I came up with in the end. I'm gonna put a photo up of the dress so that you can see what it looks like on. I was going to wear it, but I'm wanting to take a family picture in it on our upcoming trip, so I didn't want anything to happen to it. So I'm not wearing it today. But I'll tell you a little bit about what I did with this dress. So first of all, it's a scoop neck pattern, and I knew I wanted a V-neck. I also know that with double gauze, it's pretty see-through, so I knew it needed to be lined, which the hinterland dress is not. I also wanted some sort of billowy, flowy sleeves, so that's another modification that I made. So let me start with the V-neck. I cut my pattern piece out. I'm sorry, I want to start first with the fact that the original hinterland dress has a button placket. So what you have is a pattern piece that says front bodice, and it tells you to cut 2, and then, you know, you're going to attach them to the back in the button placket and be able to button it together. Instead, I simply put that centerpiece, the center of it, on the fold, and I cut 1, and that became my bodice piece. I knew that I wanted it to be lined, so I just cut 2 pieces exactly the same of my 2 front bodice pieces. So after that was done, I also decided I wanted a V-neck. So I just free-handed, you know, from the scoop neck center, I free-handed a line up to the shoulder seam that was a straight line to make my V-neck, and I think it turned out really well. It's a nice shape V-neck. It's not too deep or too wide. I really like how it turned out. So to line it, what I did was cut out 2 bodice pieces, and all I did was sew them together with like an 1/8 inch, or actually with a double gauze. It's so difficult with the seams that it pulls really easy, and it can separate really easy and fray. I actually did, I want to say I may have done a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm trying to remember now. But I just sewed it together from the top of the shoulder here. I didn't sew my shoulders together, but from the top all the way, you know, around the V-neck, I sewed it together there. And then I did the same with the back pieces. If you want to line it, you could just do the same with the back. I actually ran out of fabric, so I wasn't able to line the back. I just cut out a semicircle so that I could do that with the back and have that nice edge there with no exposed seams. And then I tacked it down so that it wouldn't pull out every time I put it on or took it off. It wouldn't like be showing on the neck. But it would be much better if you could fully line the back bodice as well. So you would do that by simply cutting 2 pieces of the back, which is already cut on the fold, and you would just sew the neckline together. I wouldn't even sew the shoulders together. So then what I did, and I'll just be honest, I did not even download the instructions for the hinterland dress. I did not go by them at all. I mean, I have them, obviously I have the pattern and I know how to do it because I have another one, but I did not even go by any instructions whatsoever. I didn't do a pocket. There was nothing that I needed to look at the instructions for, so I sort of did my own thing. So after I did that, I, turned it out so that wrong sides were together, and I pressed the seam down, and I did the same for the back. And then what I did was I put right sides together, and I sewed my shoulder seams. So no shoulders had been sewn yet, and so I sewed all of that together at once. Now I did not do my sides yet, and I did a different sleeve. I have the True Bias Roscoe dress pattern, which I have a dress from that. I love the sleeves on it so much. I wanted to do a similar sleeve for this. The problem is with that sleeve, you have a totally different cut. The Roscoe dress sort of kind of cuts down like this, and you have that whole sleeve that starts, over here. So it wasn't going to be a perfect match for the hinterland dress, but I sort of based it off of that sleeve, and I did make some changes in the shape. But I laid my top for the hinterland dress out flat. Then my front, I have the neck opening, then I had the back laid out, and I pinned my sleeves in place and sewed them here. I sewed it all the way around. And then I sewed my sides on my bodice together, right sides facing. And then I sewed up my arms on my sleeves. So then at that point, like the sleeve on the Roscoe dress, I wanted to do a sort of gathered into my sleeve so that it gave it a little bit of a billowy, gathered, puffy, drapey look to it. Sort of like this, actually. It's very much like this sleeve here. And that's how it turned out. So I finished my sleeves up, and then all I had left to do was my skirt. So at that point, I feel like with double gauze, if you don't want your panties to show, you are either going to have to wear a slip or fully line it and make it double. If that's the case, you're pretty much cutting out two of everything except for the sleeves. You're making a dress inside of the dress. I did not have enough material to line my skirt, so I pretty much probably have to wear a slip with mine if I'm in the sunlight. Or for the pictures, I'll just have to stand where the sun's shining from the side. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But for my skirt, I just then attach it right sides facing, the way that you would any skirt to an empire. You could follow the directions for the hinterland dress at that point to attach the skirt. And then I just ironed my hem over and sewed it. Becky doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to her house. I'm going to take this dress and I'm going to use her serger. Heads up, Becky. I'm coming for your serger. It's either hers or her mom's, but yeah, I think I'm gonna to go ahead and actually probably pick the hem out of this dress and use, I'm using your serger, Becky, but I think that would look a lot better in the end. But yes, I really love it. I think it's such a great, I don't know, it's exactly what I wanted. I will say this, I think that a double gauze, if you're not comfortable with hacks or modifications, I think a double gauze would look beautiful in the hinterland dress. It comes with a 3/4 length sleeve. You could totally do that, and just don't do a button placket. I think that would look great. I think that a double gauze would be beautiful in the Roscoe dress. Both of those wonderful patterns. I kind of mishmashed, hodgepodged mine together. I think either one of those patterns as they are would be great with the double gauze fabric. I also would really like to have one with some bust darts in it. This does not. It still, I think, is a wonderful, beautiful, amazing pattern that I am absolutely enamored with, so I don't mean to complain. But things I think that could make it better in my mind, I would love to have a more of a circle skirt. Also, I'd love to have more of some bust shaping for the top. So yeah, I'm still planning future dresses that every time I make one, I think of how I can make it better. So hopefully more dresses in the future, but I am very pleased with how this one turned out. And my fabric is from Blackbird Fabrics. I got it on sale actually, and they are out of Canada. Great fabric store. I do know that there are, you know, more accessible places in the US if you would prefer. I feel like double gauze is a really easy to find fabric at almost any fabric store. It's really accessible. So if you make something with it, I think a strata top would be gorgeous in a double gauze. If you make something with a double gauze, tag me on it on Instagram, because I love inspiration. I need lots of sewing inspiration for Me Made May. So show me what all y'all are making. I think that would be really fun. So one last thing I want to show y'all that I got for my acquisitions this month is this stitch markers from Hello Lavender. Came in from the mushroom collection. So Hello Lavender and Coast to Coast Yarn Company did a collaboration on Mush Club, and I was a sucker for it because y'all know I love me some mushrooms. So I got a couple of mushroom sets from Hello Lavender. They're stunning. They came in. I'll show y'all. Here's the first one. It's beautiful. I got some yarn that matches that one too. Here's the second one. I love that green. And then last but not least, I think the accent markers are so pretty on this one. I was so excited when these came in. I can't wait to put them on all my projects. All right, y'all, that is everything I have to share today. Hopefully I'll be able to visit again very soon, and I hope you have a wonderful May. If you are participating in Me Made May, I'm excited to see everybody's posts. I try to keep up with the hashtag on Instagram. But that is all for now, so until next time, happy knitting, y'all. Bye.